what are all the dangers against America? And even though Iran poses a significant threat, the question is, well, don't we have bigger threats to worry about? And personally, I'm more concerned about the fact that our nation's run by pedophiles who literally openly worship Satan and sacrifice babies to ancient Canaanite deities. That seems to me like it doesn't really matter. The geopolitics don't matter in comparison to that, because as long as we're run by literal Satanists, we're kind of screwed.
We're here at UCLA University, and I believe striking Iran is America first, and I want to hear what people have to say about that. Let's do something.
I consider myself part of the America First movement.
You're a groiper.
No, I wouldn't call myself a groiper. I'm not Catholic, but
I don't think you have to be a Catholic to be a groiper. Why is it groipers are always afraid of? You know what? It's fine. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I just don't see how attacking Iran is America first. It just seems like we've tried this before in the 50s. It didn't really work out. I don't know how we can say, like, okay, we're going to accomplish these objectives and it's going to happen. It seems like every time we try to replace leadership in another country, it's kind of something uncertain. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty. It could help the people, it might hurt them.
Is that one of the goals of this war, is to replace leadership? Or is it just a desire?
I think that's a big part of it.
You go to the government website right now and you actually look at the listed goals, and none of it says anything. Of course it's a desire, and I'm sure deep down you probably desire that too, assuming it didn't take any American boots on the ground, which by the way I'm against. I would not support that. If it didn't take any of that, and let's say we accomplished our goals, right, to eliminate their ballistic missiles program, nuclear capabilities, extremely weaken their military capabilities. If we did that and the people in Iran rose up and took back their own country, would you, not because America did something, but would you support that?
I think it's a bit more nuanced than that, because on one hand, it's definitely good if the Iranian people have a non-Islamic theocratic government.
Okay, so why would you? So that's a reason you would support it. Why would you not support it?
On the other hand, I think a lot of this is coming from Israel, and they have a motivation to kind of get America involved in protecting their state. And I don't really like that sphere of influence. I think it's dangerous.
I find this interesting, and this does come mostly from because there's the leftists that hate Israel, and then there's this woke right bullshit. And I find it interesting. Your side always answers exactly that way. When I asked you, hey, give me some pros and cons of why you would support the regime falling, you had actual listed things that had nothing to do with Israel and even America being outside of it, and you said why it would be good. When I asked you, okay, what are the cons of the regime falling? You gave me no reasons. You just said, well, hold on, almost done. You just said, well, because it's good for Israel. You didn't mention it'd be bad for America. You didn't mention it'd be bad for the region, which none of that would be true. It'd be good for America. It'd be good for the region. It'd be good for the world. It would weaken China and Russia. We can agree on that. But because it's good for Israel, you would rather throw all of that away. Can you give me a good reason why it would be bad if the regime fell?
Yeah, I mean, we tried this before. We tried
without American direct intervention. I'm saying if the people rose up and fought and got their country back, and they even semi-pro-America regime went in. Tell me why you'd be against that.
The problem is I'm not rejecting the fact that it would be good if the regime changed. I'm rejecting the fact that this is in any way going to happen. I don't think that that's very probabilistic in the first place.
It's not what I'm asking you.
Yeah, so I'm saying if it was black and white and we could just change the regime, that would be great. But I don't think that would.
I'm gonna ask the question one more time. If you can't answer this time, I'll just go to the next subject with you. Mm-hmm. Tell me why you'd be against, without American boots on the ground direct. Our goals right now is what I told you. Stop the ballistic missiles program, eliminate the ballistic missiles program, eliminate their nuclear capability, weaken their military, right? Which that's all been accomplished. Our Navy is pretty much all but destroyed, and the Air Force is all but destroyed, right? 75% or so of their launchers have been destroyed, etc. I asked you if doing these goals and us pulling out as America, if it led to a weakening of the IRGC for the people to rise up and overthrow it. Why would you be against that?
If it did, I wouldn't be against it.
Okay, perfect. So now that you know, and you can look it up after, but I'm not lying to you. Now that you know, that's not one of our goals of war, is to overthrow the regime. Highly desired, of course. Trump said it himself, but not something that he said we're not going to stop until this happens. Not one of our goals of war. Now that you know it's not one of our goals of war, and you clearly are not against it, even if it'll help Israel.
It clearly was one of our goals of war if it's something we did and are actively trying to do. We killed Ayatollah Khomeini. We tried to kill his successor. That almost worked. He might be dead.
We did kill
We
the
don't know.
successor, actually. But you're talking about
Oh, but
Moshtaba. Moshtaba, his son. So
His son,
he
yeah.
didn't become the successor until they already killed someone who was likely actually supposed to be killed, supposed to be the successor. And in
Right, yeah, I mean,
2024,
his
I
son,
think Waisi, the guy that died in the helicopter, he actually probably would have been the successor, but he died in a mysterious helicopter crash. It was me. I'm just kidding. No, so my point is I'm not saying that that's not something that if it happens during our goals of war, and then America's not like, wouldn't desire that, of course. I'll quote Marco Rubio when they brought up Cuba. He didn't say, oh, we're going to go in and change the regime, but how did Marco Rubio answer? He said, oh yeah, we'd love to see a regime change in Cuba. Trump said the same thing with Iran. But regardless, I think we're going in a little bit of a rabbit hole. Let's move forward a little bit, okay? So do you see Iran as any threat from 79 to today? Have you seen it as a threat to America?
Yeah, Iran's definitely a threat.
Okay, so we agree with that. Some people don't agree with that, and it's ridiculous. So if they're a threat to America, do you see them as somebody, if they increase their capabilities, would be more of a direct threat? And what I mean by that specifically is we have a lot of countries that are enemies of America, like let's say North Korea, for example.
Right.
But North Korea, can we agree at least, hopefully it stays this way, stays in their lane. They're not consistently trying to be a direct threat. They're not putting proxy groups in the Western Hemisphere to try to attack us. Do you see that?
They kind of do their own thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Iran does it, and they're a relatively weaker state right now. If they increased their power and started developing long-range and intercontinental ballistic missiles, do you think that they would use them against the United States?
They definitely could. It's a possibility. Yeah.
Okay, so would you rather be proactive and do something about it today so you don't have to do a lot more tomorrow?
Well, the question is, what are all the dangers against America? And even though Iran poses a significant threat, the question is, well, don't we have bigger threats to worry about? And personally, I'm more concerned about the fact that our nation's run by pedophiles who literally openly worship Satan and sacrifice babies to ancient Canaanite deities. That seems to me like it doesn't really matter. The geopolitics don't matter in comparison to that, because as long as we're run by literal Satanists, we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting. You and I should expand on if that's actually true or not more later. But what I would say is this idea that I see that there's other problems, so therefore we shouldn't take care of this problem. Maybe that's a good enough answer for you to me.
So the Iran war actually served as a great distraction from all the Epstein stuff. Trump, I don't know, he kind of got saved by that in a way.
Wait, how did he get saved? Wait, hold on. How is it a distraction? More people are talking about it than ever. In fact, people are talking about it more because of the Iran war. How did it exactly save him from that?
Well, from what I've observed, people are talking about it a lot less. They're talking about Iran now.
Trending on
That's
X
the
right
focus
now.
of
X is the #1 news site on the internet.
I can pull up X right now.
Go ahead.
We can look at the headlines.
Sure, no problem. You know the headlines are based off of your algorithm. It's not actually.
I think I should probably be able to see.
Stop. We see that 75% of you guys that watch our videos don't subscribe. So if you enjoy open dialogue, hit that subscribe button. Let's get back to the video. Check it out.
Today's news. Candace Owens claims Israel required to murder children worshiping.
See how mine's different than yours? It's based off your algorithm, so that's not a good point.
But yours is all about Iran.
No, that's my point. You're proving my point.
Well,
I don't know if you realize.
I can still go to trending, like #1, Friday the 13th, #2, Piro, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, goes down.
Can you tell me what Epstein was on February 27th on the top 10 in
No,
trending?
I don't know
It
any
wasn't.
specific
It wasn't in the
dates.
top 10. I look at the Epstein file stuff all the time. It wasn't in the top 10. So again, you're kind of proving my point here. But regardless, actually, Charlie Kirk didn't say that. But actually, no. So I'll answer that. So Charlie Kirk actually specifically said after we attacked Iran with the B-2 bombers, he specifically said that he supported it because.
Why are we talking about Charlie Kirk?
He said something because they cherry pick one click. Charlie Kirk said he actually supported it only because President Trump exhausted all negotiations, which he did even more exhaustion of negotiations. Anyways, to answer your question, look. With we can kind of deflect and pivot over to the Epstein files. I think the Epstein files are a distraction from the Epstein files, and what I mean by that is, can we agree there's 4.5 million pages I think that have been released in the Epstein files? I know the last batch was 3.5 million, so somewhere around 4 million. There's a significant amount. Do you agree? No one person, even if you read 10 pages a day, you have not read all the Epstein files. What people do on both sides, by the way. When you're anti-Israel, you're anti-Islam, you're anti-America, you're pro-America, whatever the case might be, What people do is they run it through like AI systems. They try to find whatever they're trying to push for their agenda. They throw it out, and then people, average people, like yourself, you might see it on the news and be like, oh, look at this, it says this. If you're a leftist, oh, look, it says Trump was in it. If you love Trump, oh, look, it actually says Trump actually called out Epstein before, right? And so I think it's very, hold on a sec. So back to what I was saying, right? That's really what the Epstein files are about. I think they're a distraction to themselves. I think a lot of people look at
you just deny what's actually in the Epstein files?
Okay, wow, that was the hugest straw man argument ever.
No, because it sounds like
definitely not. What I'm saying is that I think I have the fairest take, and that Epstein was a disgusting piece of shit. There's a lot of people that are absolutely being protected from certain Israelis, right? Russians, Arabs, American government. And if they are incriminated and you're a part of that, you're awful. What people do, see how I just said the truth? Because you can look, he had relations with Barack, he had relations with Bill Clinton, he had relations with Donald Trump, he had relations. Now, what those relations meant, I'm not trying to say that means all of them are automatically pedophiles, but what I'm saying is that he had relations. Russians, Arabs, one of the biggest CEOs in the UAE, he had relations with him.
They're all pedophiles, and they should.
Well, I wouldn't say that automatically makes them pedophiles. He had relations with a lot of people, and that's not me, because I love when I say this. People go, "Oh, look at this guy defending pedophiles."
Everybody who went to his island should just be hung, like, publicly.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of people that actually went to that island that didn't automatically
you don't go to the island.
Yeah,
realizing what's not realizing what's happening there. Like, it doesn't happen.
Look, you might be 100% true, and at the risk of sounding like, look, if that's true, I think every pedophile should be absolutely castrated, and it's disgusting. Okay, with that said, yeah, a couple things. With that said, you're wrong to say that. There's a lot of people that went to the island and there's pictures of the island just having like normal get-togethers and stuff like that. This idea that the island was just every square inch of like pedophilia.
And then, like, center of the island, we have like a temple dedicated to like the worship.
Did you say a temple?
Yeah, they have like.
It wasn't a temple. You're talking about the cube thing?
Yeah.
The thing that looks like an Islamic.
No,
Islamic Kaaba. It has the golden dome on top of it. What are you talking about? Do you want to see a picture of it?
No. Yeah, I mean, you could say it looks Islamic.
Why did you call it a temple?
Because they're definitely practicing
Epstein Island
satanic
cube
stuff in there.
Well, do you have proof of that? I'm not saying it's not true.
Not on me right now. I'm just.
You read something that says that they were worshiping.
Yeah, I have something saved on my computer. I don't like.
So yeah, what I find interesting. You think that looks like a temple?
Oh yes. It does.
That with the golden dome on top.
Yeah, it's a temple for the worship of some Canaanite.
When you say temple, are you talking about like synagogue temple?
No.
Okay. Because I hope you understand. Okay, I don't think you know what temple means.
By the way.
Hardly related.
I'm just saying.
Do you practice Judaism?
Not anymore.
Okay, so hardly related to the conversation.
No, I mean, we're talking about Jewish temples. Thought it was worth mentioning.
Okay, fair enough. Again, hardly related. Because I was going to say, I'll show you what the Dome of the Rock looks like, which looks kind of like a Byzantine church. Have you ever seen Byzantine churches? They looked a lot like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, sure. My question is, you know what? This deflection to Epstein. The reality is people like myself have the fairest takes. I know people have relations with him. I know for a fact that it doesn't automatically mean they're all pedophiles. That would be ridiculous. People like you use them for some pushing of an agenda, and then you fill in the blanks with your own conspiracies. You don't know if any of that. Well, not any of that stuff. Some of the stuff he said was true. A lot of the stuff you actually don't know.
Pictures of like the people together, and then there's like
people being together
with Bill Clinton, for example, just with like minors, or like he's just.
Yes, if you have pictures of them doing stuff like that, that's totally fair. But what you're doing is you're saying, I've seen this picture, so therefore everything I've seen must be pedophilia. Is an insane take.
No, so
okay, hold on, because we keep trying to push to such a boring topic, honestly, like that. I agree. We should push more into investigations, and anyone who absolutely was a pedophile should absolutely be punished to the maximum extent. So what I am saying is that there are people who find things that are credible and are wrong, and I would love to be investigated more. And that's where I end. Then people like you take it further and you immediately say, well, that means everything must be like this, and therefore all of these people are pedophiles, all of these people are satanic worshipers, Canaanite gods, blah, blah, blah. You have no proof of that whatsoever. Does that make you wrong? Of
I
course
don't
it
have
doesn't.
like the proof on the top of my head, but where I get the information from is we have like the email correspondence between different people, like for example Elon Musk and Epstein, talking about this island. For example, in the case of Elon Musk, he definitely knows about the freak parties going on there. He wants to attend. Very, very clear that he knows there are minors there and other.
Actually, if you kept
stuff.
reading those emails, it actually showed Elon Musk was saying he didn't want to go. Actually,
no, he said he couldn't go and he had to reschedule. Actually, he tried to reschedule.
Right. There's more. There's actually more emails beyond that. There's also emails of Jeffrey Epstein saying he hated Israel. He didn't like it at all. There's things him saying that he really likes the Prophet Muhammad and that he thought he was a very intelligent person. Does that make him a? Hold on. Does that make him a? Well, first off, we weren't talking about this anyways. You deflected to Epstein. I want to make that very. Hold on one sec. I want to make it very, very clear that you deflected to this. I'm the one staying on the new deflection. But let me finish. Does that make him a Muslim?
So first of all,
let me ask you. Does that make him a Muslim?
You just accused me of deflecting. Am I going to get to respond to how?
Well, as long as you answer the question, I don't think it makes much sense for me to.
I'll answer that after. You asked me about Iran. Is Iran a threat? I said yes, but I said the bigger threat is that our government's run by pedophiles. So that's how we got into this.
Okay, so your argument is that you shouldn't care about smaller threats because there's bigger threats.
I think the smaller threats are a distraction from the bigger threats for sure.
Just automatically?
Yeah. In this case, definitely.
So it's not good to strike Iran at all. Let's say the Epstein files didn't exist. Then would you have a different position?
If the Epstein files didn't exist, then I would probably be a lot more in favor of striking Iran, yeah.
Okay, why?
Because it would probably mean our government isn't run by pedophiles, so we can kind of focus on like.
Wait, so if we struck Iran for the, listen to what you just said. If we struck Iran for the exact same reasons, but these didn't exist, the files. Then you just said that it would mean a completely different reason.
No, the reasons would not be the same. It wouldn't be a.
So we're only striking Iran because Trump's a pedophile.
No. There's many reasons. Trump was kind of elected on this ticket with Israel that they would go to war with Iran. Israel's been wanting to do this for a long time.
And so is Trump. Yeah. Trump has been talking about it since 1980.
Well, Trump actually said, I forget when he said it, he says if a president ever goes to war with Iran, he's an idiot.
Yeah, so that's not particularly what he said. So what he said during Obama's re-election time was that Obama was going to use this because he's weak, so that way he can get re-elected. And that is political talk. In the exact same years following that, he specifically said, well, while we're striking Syria, we should also strike the hell out of Iran and we should obliterate them. What he is doing, because, and by the way, I'm not this like deified Trump person. I am a conservative, but I'm okay with not thinking Trump's perfect. I know there's a lot of MAGA people who like think Trump can do no wrong. So with that being said, Trump, you're right, he is not the best speaker. He says everything has to be the most beautiful thing or the worst thing ever. That's how he is. So when you're taking a cherry-picked quote of him talking about re-election specifically with Obama and trying to state that therefore he's just against the military option with Iran, since 1980,
I'm
literally.
Not saying he's against it. I'm saying he says different things all the time.
But it's not different. You're just not listening to the fine line.
No, he said if a president ever. This isn't like a specific thing.
Can you pull that quote up?
If a president. I mean, I can look for it right now.
Not like I know every single word from Trump, but I'm pretty sure you're talking about when he was talking about with Obama.
Let's see.
Okay, let's find that after.
Okay, yeah, you can keep going.
Yeah. Anyways, so you do agree. It feels like you agree with everything. You agree that Iran has killed about 45 Americans, give or take, in the past 2 years. They've killed hundreds of Americans since the Islamic regime. You agree with that. You're actually already farther ahead. Some people, they like deny all that stuff. You're not denying any of that. If you agree with all of this, right, and you think it is a good thing to strike Iran, put your feelings about who you automatically attribute pedophilia to or not. That aside, with Iran, if you do see it being a good thing, right, and it'll be beneficial for America, more or less.
Only if it actually succeeds, but I deny the premise that it'll succeed.
Even if America left right now as we were speaking, do you agree that the goals, they've destroyed 75% of their launchers, maybe more, this is the latest information, 75% of their launchers, destroyed their Navy, their Air Force, their ballistic missiles and drone program has been severely weakened. Obviously, if they left now, they wouldn't have accomplished the idea of destroying it, but severely weakened. What do you mean when you say only if they accomplish it? What exactly do you mean left?
I think when we're talking about accomplishing something, we're specifically talking about will the Iranian people have a better government. I don't think that will happen, and I don't think this will be the end of it either. we keep having these ends. Next will just be Turkey. Turkey's coming next.
Yeah, I think
Cuba's coming
I think
next.
what you're doing, and this is a lot of people do, you just think everything's automatically Iraq and Afghanistan. And so because of the failures of past presidents, you just think everything has to be that way.
No.
Do you think
I don't
the
it's
Gulf
that at
War
all.
was a failure?
I'm not really well versed in the Gulf
Okay,
War.
we went in, we did our operations, and we got out after months. How about the Korean War? Was that a failure?
I don't know about the
Okay,
Korean
how about
War.
World War II? Was that a failure?
Definitely not.
Okay, so I find it interesting that we've done all these interventions, and a lot of them have been successful. A lot of them we look back and we're like, not the best. But people like you only point to the bad stuff. Why is it that you guys ignore all the other times where America did intervention and it's worked out, not just for a little bit, permanently?
I'm looking at Iran specifically, and we did this before and it failed horribly.
And
that's
Iran?
how we got Khomeini, yeah.
What are you talking about? We did not go into Iran during that. You're talking about Jimmy Carter when we influenced it?
We actually set up a coup in Iran and it failed.
Right, no, I know what you're talking about.
that's
That's
like
not at all the same thing what we're doing right now. That is a false equivalency.
That's kind of what we
Not
did.
even close to what we're doing. It's
How
a
is
false
it-
equivalency.
What's different about it?
Did we strike Iran with over 1,500 different targets? I'm so
the
confused.
idea is the same. We're
It's not at all. See,
the previous
again,
leadership.
you're okay. First off, once again, that is not a goal of war. You're making that part up. Second
But
off,
it happened though. Whether or not you think it's a
just
goal of war,
because
it
something,
happened.
this is insane. Just because something has happened doesn't make this the same thing. This is a logical
I'm not
fallacy.
saying
You have to
they're
explain.
exactly equivalent.
They're
but
not
I'm
even
saying
close to
the
equivalent.
The results are probably going to be pretty close because you have leadership going away.
The
What
results would
happens,
be
there's
we're
a
trying
struggle for
to.
power.
The results is we're trying to weaponize rebellion groups without doing any strikes or weakening the power, so that way they can do a coup and overthrow the regime, and it fails. You think that's what's going to happen here?
No, I don't think it's exactly
Okay, so
similar.
it's not even.
but-
In
No,
what
no,
way
no,
is it similar?
it's
Can you tell me
similar
in what way it
because
is
we now
similar?
have this leadership which is decapitated, and now there's a struggle for power in Iran. Whenever there's a struggle for power between Muslim groups who are fine literally blowing themselves up for their jihad and people who actually support freedom, really bad stuff is going to happen. That's just the history of what's happened basically every time in the Middle East.
Yeah, and many times that's not what happened.
When has it not happened?
In specifically the Middle East?
In the Middle East, yeah.
Well, first off, I think let me ask your question, or let me rephrase your question again, and then I think this will be the last question. Are you saying when has Muslims not blown each other up in the Middle East?
Yeah.
Oh, that goes back to their founding because that's in their teachings, that's in their
Right, yeah.
beliefs.
So there's
Right,
nothing we
but
can
to
really
say that's
do.
because of America is
No,
ridiculous.
it's not because of America.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
their
America
nature.
should absolutely.
No, I think
Okay.
we should kind of just give up on them.
Okay,
Muslims are
wow,
going to be Muslims.
I'd love to continue to talk about your extreme anti-American position of this idea we should just give up world power so that way Russia would have continued influence in the MENA
give
region.
up trying to help.
It's not trying to help. It's
Islam.
about American influence so that way we.
I mean, it seems pretty clear we want to free the Iranian people, right?
Do I think that the American government is doing this to free the Iranian people? No, that's ridiculous. I
feel
think that's a
feel
good
like
thing,
a
of
few
course.
people have definitely made those claims before.
Oh yes, politicians making claims. That must mean
In the
that's
White
exactly
House.
what they're
in
doing.
the White House, who are the ones advocating for
You
these
do
things.
understand those are politicians. I don't know why you
Those are-
interrupt.
those
I
are
don't
the
know why you
politicians-
interrupted me just
those
to
are the
repeat what I
politicians
said.
making
Let me
the
finish a sentence.
Uh,
Politicians saying stuff in public and cameras and on interviews. You think that that's what they're saying in the Pentagon and that's why they're doing it? If it was solely about or even majorly about just freeing people,
no, I
we'd be
think-
at
I
war
think-
everywhere.
I think they're doing
And-
it for
oh my
Israel.
gosh.
I don't think they're actually doing it for free Iran.
Man, I love to continue to talk about it because that is insane. But okay, do we have to?
Yeah, we would have to.
All right. Swap out
All right.
maybe later if
Nice
you're
to meet
well.
you,
Nice
yeah.
to meet you. Yeah, thank you. Wow, that was a great conversation. If you guys want to see more great conversations and more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. Let's do something.